I am so excited for this one.
She's been talking about going to this lounge for a long time. Hey everyone, Dana Leslie back for another Disney dining review.
We are headed over to Coronado Springs to Three Bridges. We have not been here in ages, but I remember loving it so much last time we went. I'm so hopeful that it's still the same.
It's a little bit out of the way. So it is in the heart of Coronado Springs and you can't make dining reservations for it. So there is a Sangria University thing that you can make reservations for. But if you're just going to experience the menu and grab a drink, you just walk up when they open or after they open, and they don't open until I think 4.
Yeah.
And you put your name on the list and eventually they call you, hopefully. So that coupled with the fact that it's in a resort, so it is right in the middle of the big lake there at Coronado Springs. It's got 3 bridges connecting it, hence the name. But it is a fabulous, or at least it was a fabulous lounge that we really enjoyed.
It does have the option if you are close to join the walk-up list. So if you are on the property staying there, you could join the walk-up list. I can't from home. So
handy if you're staying there, not so handy if you're not.
Yes. So all right, so let's talk about the menu. I did notice that the shrimp and corn fritters that we used to love are not on this menu.
Aww.
I don't know if, sometimes the online menu is different than what they give us whenever we get there. So I don't know if maybe you can still get them. I'm definitely gonna ask. But they've got guacamole, they've got queso, they've got fried chicken bao buns, roasted corn dip, some pork ribs, and a ceviche classico for the appetizer-y type things. There's some wedge salads. And then for entrees, they've got a mahi-mahi and shrimp dish, steak frites, a chicken mole poblano, pork carnitos tacos, Three Bridges signature burger, and then several different poke bowls, either with tofu, tuna, marinated tuna, or ginger shrimp.
We have never actually gotten a full-blown entree here, have we? Didn't we always just get the appetizer? It's been so long.
I know, I don't remember. I can't remember if we shared an entree. I know we got the fritters and anyway, but I'm looking forward to this. And then of course they've got lots of yummy looking beverages, so.
Well, I'm hungry. This is combo lunch/dinner, so lots of room to try all of the things. Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's do this.
Three Bridges. We got here right at 4, thinking it opened at 4. It does not. It opens at 4:30, so just so you know. And we ordered a couple of appetizers. We ordered the guacamole and the roasted corn dip, as well as a couple of beverages that are coming. So I'm gonna try this corn dip really fast because it looks really tasty. I really like that corn dip a lot. It's like warm, it's got a little bit of sweetness to it. That's got a nice blend of flavors. Very, very good. I'm excited to try the guac.
All right, so I'm gonna try this guacamole. I am a guacamole critic, so let's see here. It looks like it has some tahini on top of it, which is interesting. It's pretty good. It's obviously made fresh in the back. I do like the tahini. The chips are really, really salty, so that's giving it some salt for sure. The lime is really forward on that, which I like. It's not kind of your typical bland guacamole that everybody does. It's pretty good. It's not the best guacamole I've ever had, but definitely tasty. It is definitely windy out here, but it feels great. So I got the cold brew old fashioned. Comes with 1 large cube. There's a lot of liquid in there, so I'm wondering if the one large cube maybe melted a little bit. It's okay. Tastes cold brew more than anything. Not sure how much bourbon is in it. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it. Totally average. Nothing to write home about. I may get like I may get a sangria actually. Anyway, is what it is.
I was going between the spicy Paloma and the Bourbon Breeze. She said that they were out of the grapefruit soda right now, and so they used grapefruit juice instead for the Paloma, and I was like, I don't know. So I went with the Bourbon Breeze, which has like some cranberry and pomegranate and bourbon and whiskey. She said it was like if a whiskey sour and something had a baby. So the rain started coming in and raining on us, so we quickly moved over to another table. Anyway, I tried this. It's a little watered down a little bit, so I don't know. I'm kind of a damn. It's just average as far as I'm concerned. All right, this is so pretty. So I've got 3 pork carnitas tacos. That's what I went with. It comes with like the little pickled stuff, and then there's different sauces and the cojita cheese like on the side, so you can kind of like build your own, which is really fun with this cute little spoon. I'm gonna build really quick and then I will try it out. The pork is cooked really well. Something in there is a little salty, and I don't know if it was the cheese that I put on there or if it's the pork itself. But otherwise, like, the flavors are great. I've got this huge bowl of basmati rice with black beans and like some kind of salsa stuff in there. So that looks tasty as well. I'm excited. This is pretty good.
I got the poke tuna bowl, which sounded really good. I almost went for the burger, which she said was really good, but she also recommended this as well. It comes with fresh ahi tuna. You can also substitute tofu or I think shrimp maybe, but I got the tuna, and it has grilled pineapple in there. Very, very fresh. It comes with a lime wedge that I squeezed over it, so I'm gonna reserve overall rating for a few more bites because I got a chunk of pineapple in there and it kind of overpowered the tuna a little bit. So I'm excited to dive in and try this.
All right, we're gonna eat our food and we're gonna finish this up at home.
All right, we are back.
All right, before we get into this, if you are looking to plan your next magical vacation, please reach out to us over at Fantastical Vacations. We plan Disney destinations, Universal cruise lines, and all-inclusive resorts.
This one is good and mediocre, I guess. Before we get into it, I think that this is a really good place to go hang out after a long park day if you're staying at Coronado Springs.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I don't know how many times we'll go out of our way to drive over to Coronado just specifically for this.
You know, it's funny because like if I were just going to eat there, I think I would think, oh yeah, this is really great. Like this is fun and I like it and I love, everything about it. But whenever you start putting ratings on it, it kind of changes just a little bit, and it doesn't come out quite as high as it feels in like whenever you're just enjoying life.
It's like Rick's, right? So Rick's is inside, just right down from all the conference big rooms, because Coronado Springs is a conference hotel, right? So when we went over there to park, you don't even have to go into the parking for Grand Destino Tower or the hotel. You can just bypass security and park in the event center and go into all the convention space and then walk through there and then go out. But Rick's I really like because it is a cool sports bar. They've got good drinks. It's good sports bar food. But when you rate it and compare it to all the other fine dining on property, it just doesn't hold a candle to it. And I feel like this is kind of where this is at.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those places that I love the open air aspect. Like, if I can sit outside and not be sweltering hot, then I love it. Like and it had a nice breeze. So the whole open air thing is gorgeous. I love the views there. So the ambiance and theming, we actually ended up rating a 4 just because of how like fun it is just to be able to sit outside and look at the tower or the water or whatever your view is.
The problem is there's no indoor seating because it's all open air, right? So if it's extremely hot, and then there were a couple of shades, but I don't think everywhere had shades. Like I only saw 2 in that entire pavilion. So if the sun's beaming in, or in our case, if it starts raining and the wind starts blowing the rain in and you're sitting right there at the railing, you get wet. And so like that takes away from the ambiance and theme because you can't just put down a screen like you can at Jock Lindsay's to keep some of the rain out either. So that's why it didn't get above a 4. Let's talk about service real quick. Our server, she was really nice, very pleasant. She gave her recommendations, definitely above average. That being said, like, we moved ourselves because as the rain started pouring in, all the servers were off doing other things. I'm not sure where they went, but it was probably not the best time to be absent. So we just moved ourselves to another table, and she came back. We're like, sorry, we weren't going to stand there and sit there and get wet while we waited on. Because we were totally moved. We moved 2 appetizers, 4 drinks, so 2 waters and 2 drinks, coasters, silverware, plates, all that stuff.
So we ended up rating her a 4. All right, now drinks. Now this is one thing that I do remember, I think I remember from way back when it being the same as well, being a little disappointed in the drinks that they just weren't quite there. And it's both of ours were just very average. It was almost like they got made and then sat for 10 or 15 minutes, but it wasn't that long before we got our drinks. So I don't know why it's so watered down.
Mine was in a cold brew old fashioned, 1 large cube, and the cube did appear to be somewhat melted, but it was still a pretty solid cube. So I'm thinking that either they did not chill the cocktail prior to pouring it on the cube, which you need to do with an old fashioned, right? So you stir it on ice before pouring it into the glass with the 1 large ice cube, so it doesn't like just melt the 1 large ice cube. I don't know how they made it, if that was the problem, or if they just had a bunch of cold brew and they just dumped a bunch of it in there. But I didn't taste bourbon at all. All I tasted was cold brew. I'm like, watered down cold brew.
Mine was, the flavors I think would have been good had it not been a little bit watered down, but it probably was the same situation. All that to say, they were just kind of straight up average, like nothing really to write home about. I'm not gonna not get a drink the next time I go there. They were fine, but it wasn't anything that I'm like, oh, I've got to go back and get that beverage.
Yeah, sangria is they've got a bunch of different kinds of sangria, like 4 plus a seasonal, so 5 different kinds of sangria. You can get a sangria flight. They've got the Sangria University that I mentioned before we went. The last time we were there, we got the sangria flight, and those were watered down. So it may just be, I don't know, just kind of like, it may just be the way they do things. So maybe get a draft beer and call it a day whenever you go to Three Bridges.
We ended up giving the drinks a 3.
Food. Food was actually, the appetizers were better than the entrees. So we asked for her recommendations. She said, absolutely get the roasted corn dip. It was pretty tasty. It was definitely above average, the guacamole. While I think it was above average, definitely not in the top 5 of guacamoles I had ever had. I did appreciate that the lime was a little bit more forward. What I hate is when restaurants make guacamole and they just expect the avocados to do all the work. And if I just wanted a mashed up avocado, I would just order a mashed up avocado.
What I didn't love is that the chips were just very overly salty. I mean, like our fingers were like covered in salt, but I would say still like the dips themselves were above average. The entrees, mine in particular, I only had 1 bite of yours, so I won't speak to yours, but mine, the pork was still a little bit salty all the way through. It was just a little too much. I did very much enjoy getting to like have every bite be a little bit different with my sauces that were on the side. So if I wanted something a little more sweet, I could try one salsa. If I wanted it a little more spicy, another. So that was kind of fun. The rice and beans in the middle, though, those were pretty bland. I think that their intention was for you to use the salsas to kind of spice those up, because I did that towards the end and it was pretty tasty.
Ironically, like some things were too salty and some things were not salted at all. And so if you mix them together, like it became a better bite. But it's like, why don't you just season everything correctly all the way through and we'll be good. Kind of same thing with mine. The ahi tuna was fresh. All the ingredients were fresh. It just wasn't a ton of flavor. Like the most flavor I got from it was the lime that I squeezed over it that came on the side of it. It wasn't bad. I think it was slightly above average, but not great. Not something I would get again. We gave food a 3.5. If you add all 4 of those up and divide by 4, you got a 3.625. And I think that's pretty much right on the money for this.
I will definitely be back, I think. I don't know that I'm gonna go out of my way, but if we ever do like a staycation at Coronado Springs, I would 100% go here, because it's just a really nice place to sit outside, watch the sunset, grab a drink and maybe a couple appetizers and just kind of chill.
Coronado has a ton of restaurants, right? So I think if I was at Coronado for a week doing a conference, if I wanted a nice, good meal that I would actually go out of my way for, it's Toledo. If I wanted a good lounge, like for the drinks, it would be Dahlia Lounge up on both of those right across from each other up on the top of Grandestino Tower. If I just wanted a place to hang out indoors in AC, maybe watch a game, that would be Rick's. If I wanted a good meal that I probably didn't have to wait very long for or spend a ton of money for, it would be the Maya Grill. And then this is kind of somewhere in between. So if I just wanted a place outside in some shade on the water where I could grab maybe a beer or a watered down drink and maybe an appetizer and just kind of just chill out and enjoy, like maybe as the sun is setting, something like that, then yeah, I think this would be a great one. But again, if I'm going to Coronado, it's probably gonna be for Toledo.
Yeah. If you are liking these videos, please hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss the next one.
And we will see you on the next video.